Yes, welcome to a new and improved direction for my YouTube channel. It's now not only going to be about EAFC or FIFA, whatever you want to call it. We're now broadening our horizons into football in general, which is something obviously I'm massively passionate about. So that's why we're doing it. I had a plan. I had a plan of like reviewing what had happened over the weekend, the VAR controversies. There was a couple at Arsenal, there was one at Man City. The fact that David Moyes is leaving West Ham. But after last night, and given that I am a Man United fan, there's only one thing that I can talk about today. And it is the utter embarrassment that was last night's fixture against Crystal Palace. So for those of you that don't know, or you've been living under a rock, this is what happened last night. We got absolutely smashed by Crystal Palace. We lost 4-0. As you can see, we had more of the ball, 57%, but I would say 80% of that 57 was in our own half, just passing it around the back, trying to build up and failing miserably. Again, another 18 shots on our goal from Palace, which is obviously an ongoing trend now, which is well documented, which just doesn't ever seem to change. Which, interestingly, Gary Neville put to Ten Hag in an interview last week. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but basically asked him a lot of questions about the style of play, etc., etc. And the fact that Jason Wilcox has come in to provide this game model, and Ten Hag basically said there's nothing wrong with the game model because he's already promoted youth players like Garnacho and Maidu. But to me, that's not the game model. That's just the principle of Man United to promote from the youth. That's not a game model. A game model is your style of play, how you want all your teams to play, down from the academy to the under-21s to the first team. It should just be the same all the way through. All the teams play exactly the same, so once you get to the first team, they know exactly what it's going to be like, which is what obviously Man City have incorporated. So that's what I understand Jason Wilcox's role to be. So for Erik Ten Hag to say there's nothing wrong with the game model, the fact that they'll have sat in the stands last night and watched that game, and it's not just yesterday's game, because everybody will point to the injuries and say, "Oh, you didn't have a back four, you didn't have any defenders, blah 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 blah." It makes no difference. I've watched Man United all season long, every single game, and nothing has changed. No matter who was playing, no matter what the personnel was. So you can say we haven't had a centre back, we haven't had a left back. Why does that mean that the team has to be completely open in the midfield? It doesn't make any sense. It literally makes no sense. So for Jason Wilcox to sit there in the stands, he can't be sat there thinking, yeah, this is a game model that's going to work, because it isn't. It's a fact. They highlighted on Monday Night Football just how bad defensively we've been, and we're right down there with Sheffield United, who are the worst defensive team in the history of the Premier League, conceding 100 goals. That is how bad we are. As for the game itself, we obviously had a centre-back pairing of Johnny Evans and Casemiro. And I tweeted out last night that I remember Gary Neville saying that there was a game against West Brom where he knew during that game he had to retire. He had to retire. And I feel like that was what their performances were like last night, Johnny Evans and Casemiro. I mean, Casemiro won't retire, don't get me wrong. He's only 32. He'll go off to MLS, Saudi, he'll get a massive payday, and he'll go live the dream over in one of those leagues. But for Johnny Evans, I mean, obviously fair play to him. We signed him up as a bit of an emergency, and it ended up staying on for the rest of this season. But he can't watch that game back from last night and think, I can play in the Premier League. Because he can't. It's as simple as that. And neither can Casemiro. It was truly incredible to watch Casemiro last night. I don't even know how to describe his performance. He just dived in to every single tackle. But not even like he was trying to win the ball. Like he was just trying to make it look like he tried, so they could just lay down for a couple of seconds, then get back up and watch. And then come back and blame the other defenders. once they conceded, which is what happened for the goal from the throw-in, which I think was their first goal, Elise's goal. So yeah, big no-no for me from Evans and Casemiro. I think it's time to call it a day. So obviously, and quite rightly so, questions will now be put, and were put, to Ten Hag about if he's the man to take us forward. And that's what I'm still struggling with. I still think they're going to give him next season, but I just don't see how it's going to change. If this is his tactic, and this is how he wants to play, it doesn't matter what players you put into that system. It doesn't matter. Because the players are still going to do the same things. Like, in possession we might be better, yeah. But out of possession, what's going to change? Because he still wants to press with those, like, front five, or front four, and then just leave that massive gap in the midfield. So what's going to change? What difference does it make whether it's Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro? Like, it makes no difference. The style of play and the press is flawed, and it's as simple as that. So you could put De Bruyne in there, you could put Rodri in there. It will make no difference. I also noticed something watching the game last night. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure the way Oliver Glasner's set up Crystal Palace is almost exactly the same as Thomas Tuchel set up his Chelsea team, where he had like 3 at the back and then like 2 10s behind the striker, like all really narrow. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that was the case, which is an interesting side plot, obviously, given the fact that Tuchel is going to be out of work once this season finishes, and surely that's somebody that Man United will be looking at. Do you think that'd be a good appointment? I'm on the fence with everything, to be honest, at the minute. Obviously, Southgate's name's been bandied about, but that won't happen, in my opinion. I can't see that happening. So what other options are there? Stick with Ten Hag or Tuchel. They're basically the 2 options. I can't see him going for De Zerbi, and let's face it, his Brighton team have been a bit patchy this season anyway, compared to last. So it's not like there's a great deal of managerial options out there. There is obviously Zidane. That's really difficult for me to say. Who is just, I don't know what he's doing, living the dream somewhere. Obviously has pedigree from Real Madrid. But whether he could do something what United need, which is effectively a rebuild, it's a little bit different to what he had at Real Madrid, where everything was there ready for him. So I don't know if Zidane would be willing to take that on, to be honest with you. So to put an end to last night, the players obviously have to take some responsibility. They were absolutely terrible. As you can obviously imagine by the fact we've just been smashed 4-0 by Crystal Palace. No offence to Crystal Palace. But the manager still is the one that's sending him out to play in that way. And as we've seen repeatedly, it does not work. So what is it going to take for him to change it? The worst part of it, from a United fan's point of view, is our next game is Arsenal. Then we've got Newcastle. And we've also got a cup final against Manchester City. So this could be a really bad 2 or 3 weeks to be a Man United fan. And also could be a very bad 2 or 3 weeks to be Erik Ten Hag, because he might find himself out of a job. Let me know what your thoughts are on the mess that is Manchester United. Whether you're a fan or not, it doesn't matter. Let me know what you think in the comments. And going forward with this channel, obviously, I'd like to do some of these things like live on like a stream, so people can like obviously ask me questions about various stuff. Obviously not just Man United related. This is just like a one-off because of what happened last night. But I intend to do more stuff to do with football in general. So if there's anything you want me to cover, or you've got questions, like I said, you can hit me up on Twitter/X, or leave a message on the YouTube community thing. But yeah, let me know what you think. Poke fun at me if you want. Until next one, cheers.